where there's been a lot of tension, I've been doing a lot of driving, or I've even been doing a lot of yard work, I will do 24 to 32 minutes at levels 1, 2, or 3. If I've been using my muscles a lot, like yard work, I will often do a level 10 for 8 minutes or 16 minutes, followed by another 8 to 16 minutes at level 1 or 2. Then what you do, particularly at the end of the day, you want to use your last treatment as your finishing treatment at level 1, 2, or 3. Depending on how you respond to the field. I would usually use a level 1 actually myself. So hopefully that helps you. Now, with the stress, what we all have to understand about stress is that chronic daily stress is a life killer. It is something that shortens people's lives. And so what you do, that treatment at the end of the day that helps to mitigate or decrease that stress should significantly decrease aging. Now you won't know that, you won't notice that for a while. And unfortunately, people who aren't using the QRS, 5 years later, 6 years later, 7 years later, will say, "My, how young you look," compared to them, because they've aged a lot because they haven't been doing something to mitigate the stress at the end of the day. So the QRS is marvelous in that respect, plus all the other things that, of course, magnetic fields do. All right, next question.
Can I have one little follow-up on my tinnitus?
Yes.
That pen that they have, can you use that pen, the attachment to the QRS system, and point that at your ear? Would that help at all?
Again, it depends on what the problem is. So the question is, can you use that pen? And I would think yes. I would say yes, because it's a local problem. But again, do not expect a change quickly. It may take several months before you give up and say it's not going to make a difference.
Would you recommend the pen over the pad because you could direct it right into your ear?
Yeah, the pen will tend to produce a field that fans out from the tip of the pen. It becomes like a brush at the end. So it sprays out maybe at about a 15 to 20 degree angle from the tip of the pen. And so it will produce a wider field in the whole area of the ear and go directly into the ear area. I would love very much to know if you use a pen like this, and I would use it for 16 minutes at setting 10.
What time of day?
Twice a day.
So 32 minutes.
Well, I don't consider it 32 minutes because what you do is you do 16 minutes and then it sort of continues to work throughout the day. But so 16 minutes twice a day.
Okay, thank you very much.
So don't do 32 minutes at one time to try to make up for 8 minutes that you missed or 16 minutes that you missed. It probably won't work quite as well when you do that.
What time of day should you do it?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
What setting did you say, doctor?
10.
10, yeah.
Because what happens is the magnetic field drops off very rapidly in field strength. So the deeper into the head that the field has to go, the weaker it is. That means that you have to spend more. If you lose a lot of that signal strength deep into the head, then you have to make up for it by the amount of time that you use it for. But there's a limit to how much time you're going to get any benefit from. So in this case, I would recommend 10 as the highest setting, and then a local therapy. This is a question that comes up frequently. When I recommend 10 on the mattress, the overall mattress, the whole body's getting the 10. And as you know, if you touch the tip of your finger with another finger very gently, your body perceives that. That signal from the tip of your finger goes all the way to the brain. It gets amplified by the body in order for the brain to perceive it. So you can imagine that when you lay on a mattress pad and you're doing it at 10, you are significantly stimulating the whole organism. If you narrow the field down, if you use the pillow and you use a 10, you're not going to get anywhere near as much stimulation of the body as you do with a mattress. And obviously, if you use the pen versus the pillow versus the mattress, then you get a different sort of step down in effect. And as you step down the amount of body exposure, then you can increase the strength. You don't have to start it at the lower strengths like we often do. You can go up to a higher strength much faster. All right?
Okay, thank you.
Next question.
I have a question. Can you tell us, in your working on the numerous years you have been, how the QRS compares to other pulse electromagnetic devices that we're finding out on the market now?
There are so many magnetic devices out there, and they all do different things. You really have to know your device to know what it can do and whether you should use it. The major benefit of the QRS is that it is a whole body treatment. Many of these other systems are not whole body treatments. B, it's a mild field. It's a very mild field, which means that you're not overstimulating the body. One of the problems that people have with the static magnets, and particularly the beds, the static magnetic beds, when you have a lot of magnets in a magnetic bed, you are creating a significant amount of stimulation of the body. I used to wear magnetic shoe inserts all day, and I used to get this achiness in my knees because the energy would kind of collect at the knee. Probably because I sat too much, or I carried too much tension in my thighs. But the problem is that these static fields that you're using, these very strong static fields that you use over long periods of time, can create other changes in the cells, simply because of the strength of the field. I was talking to a doctor recently about a guy in Japan that he came across, a student who used a very strong magnetic field, a static magnet, something like 5,000 Gauss, that he put on the side of his head, and for an ache or a problem that he had, and he wore it there as many hours a day as he possibly could. And over several months after they did an MRI of his brain, they actually found softening of the brain under that strong magnet. So the benefit of the QRS is that it's a weak field. You don't use it that long. The pulse fields tend to create a wave effect or an action in the body that lasts hours after that single treatment. So it's very, very safe. Now, the downside of it is that if you have a particular need, and there are many studies in my book, that if you have a particular problem that you only need to treat for a short period of time, you may be better off with a very strong field that will treat you quickly. But we don't view the QRS as a short-term therapeutic device. Some people wish it was. Some people wish that want to use it that way. So we have to reorient people's thinking that it will not only help problems, that it will not only be therapeutic, but it really is a long-term health maintenance system. This is why, in my mind at least, the price is worth it. Because you're really talking about a lifetime therapy here. And the benefits of the QRS in terms of decreasing the rate of development of arthritis, decreasing the rate of development, or even stopping it, or even reversing it, of atherosclerosis, improving tissue health, helping the cells after, all that stress that I talked about earlier, helping the cells to shake it off. And if you can help the cells to metabolize quicker, have more energy, be healthier generally, stress tends to create less effects on the body. So you recover from the stress faster, and you also create less damage from the stress that we do experience between treatments. So the QRS as a magnetic field system is a gentle, very gentle field system, which is very affordable, provides a whole body treatment, not just a local treatment, although you can do local, obviously, as we discussed. And it's something you don't have to be afraid of, that may be too much for you in general terms. So that's the value and the benefit that I see for the QRS.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next question.
Yes, my name is Greg. I'm in New York, and I had a question about the technical aspects of the QRS. We recently got one in New York City, and my background is electrical engineering, and I also did curling photography. I'd like a little bit of a technical discussion about the QRS unit in terms of also the settings from 1 to 10. I mean, is 10 providing more amplitude, or is it a faster frequency? Is the unit uniform from head to bottom?